Hello, all you fellow Dusty Dogs and travelers of the trail out there. My name is Dusty Yoti here for DIOT Gaming, and welcome back to Winds of Change, where we're about to launch the attack on Balteus. We have 5 purity events, 3 corruption events, we have a 90% morale, I have unlocked everybody's heart-to-heart scene, and I think I've done all the books. Who knows what the hell is in store for us in Balteus? Well, I'm sure there are people who do know what the hell is in store for us in Balteus, but I have no idea because I've actually managed to keep this whole thing basically very, very much under wraps for me. I'm usually the type of person who will go ahead and spoil myself because I don't care, because I like seeing how the story plays out over like, I like seeing the story beats rather than like, oh, I know what the ending, rather than no, don't tell me the ending. Like, I know the ending, just like I'm more concerned about the steps it takes to get there. Is that still amusing? Okay, but yeah, basically we've done everything as much as I could in Mazeo, Valinor, and Alarinthia. So it's time to go to Balteus. Traveling to Balteus is the point of no return. Make sure you've completed all the content you desire. There'll be no coming back, as Act 5 is the finale. Travel to Balteus? Yes. I make my way to the docks, happy to see that almost everybody else has done the same. Our forces line the entire area. Dozens of ships are ours to command. We stand a real chance. Making my way down the docks, I notice all our forces talking amongst themselves. This is the unity that our world needed. The unity that we're fighting for. Though not everybody saw eye to eye, they could all coexist with one another. There would be no more oppression for those who thought differently than our rulers. That is, of course, if we won. Milas is nowhere to be seen, but somehow I'm not surprised. He came to Alarinthia and back, and for that I was grateful. It was time for him to rest and focus on what to do next. Staying true to his word, Sovi was nowhere to be seen. It's probably for the best. Letting him help us was too risky. But part of me wonders if I'd ever see him again after this. As I continue down the docks, eyes start to fixate on me. Not just me, but the blade upon my back as well. They all knew who I was. At this moment, I feel the weight resting on my shoulders, but I stand strong. This is a burden that I was ready to carry. No, this was a burden that I was born to carry. I smile at them as I walk by, and they do so in turn. As I walk, I eventually run into Dominic. He's overseeing everybody's efforts, making sure it goes smoothly. There's a lot to transport. We'd all need weapons, food, and drink.
Quite the army, isn't it? Salus would be proud. I know he would. Forgive me for taking charge, though. You deserve a break.
Well, I did give you the post as, technically advisor, and I think, honestly, it was more of a second-in-command position, so, I mean, that's fine by me.
Or at least a chance to save your energy. You'll need most of it in Balteus, not here. We'll take care of everything until then.
Also another fair reason to do this. I nod, thankful that Dominic is taking the initiative. I definitely need to use the voyage as time to prepare. My skill with this blade is limited, but I know it can improve.
I made sure to put us on the same boat as each other. Everyone, actually. Howl, Valessa, Fortame, Ulrich, Pro. It's probably best if we're all together for the end of this journey.
That much was true. I need my friends by my side for this. We were about to change the entire world. We'd be slaying gods. Part of me wonders just who they are, and why they do what they've done. There's probably no point in concerning myself with that information. Nothing about them could excuse what they've done. They needed to fall. I thank Dominic for everything that he's done, and this makes him happy.
Of course, Monarch. Anything to help you out. But I think we're almost ready to set sail. Want to get on board? Might as well lead by example. A lot of people are just standing around.
We turn to leave, but we're quickly interrupted. It's the last person I'd expect to see, but I'm not surprised.
Leaving without me, Dominic? I thought you wanted me to come along.
Well, hey, we haven't seen you since you left us by the spirit idol.
Hey, Grizz, happy to see you. We weren't leaving, just getting on board. Hopefully everyone else will take the hint and follow suit.
Fair enough. Hey there, Monarch. Domek told me everything when you got back from Alarinthia. It seems like we were looking at things the wrong way all along. At least I definitely was. I thought that my death in those tunnels would redeem me. But now I know that my fate lies elsewhere, in Balteus.
I'm glad that his outlook has changed. I couldn't let him kill himself back in our HQ. He was just lost and needed some direction.
At first, I was furious that you denied me my redemption. But when Domek came to see me, I looked at it differently. I was meant to survive those tunnels and help your final attack.
He holds out his hand, awaiting my response.
What do you say? To the Triumvirate's fall? Mazeo can rest with Lilith for now.
Yeah, to the Triumvirate's fall. I shake his hand, and his grip is firm. The support our cause is getting overwhelms me.
Thank you, Monarch. Let's put the past behind us. Honestly, I think all of us want to forget about those tunnels. I promise that from here on out, I'll maintain a clear mind.
I wonder if this would just shorten the scene if I had allowed him to do it himself, or if it would just... if somebody else would have stepped in. Like, oh, would Lilith be doing it? Like, no, I need to avenge Grizz's death. I don't know. I nod, and we start making our way towards the boat. Our vessel is the same one we used to get to Alarinthia. It's a bit bigger than the rest and would work as a mobile HQ. When I get to the deck, I turn around and look at the docks. Everyone is saying their final goodbyes, since we might not make it back. I give them all the time they need and slowly watch as they board our fleet. Actually, I might not make it back either. That thought fills me with fright. Taking one last look at Mazea and soil, I say goodbye under my breath. What happened next would change the course of Alestian history forever. I turn around to face the deck and crew. The atmosphere seems tense. Domek and Howl almost immediately group together. They're inspecting parchments. It looks important as they're locked in discussion. They don't seem to be arguing with one another. As I walk toward them to see what's happening, I'm immediately interrupted by my comrades. Happy to see me aboard, there's a quick exchange of hugs and pleasantries. They seem excited. Perhaps they really are. Or perhaps they're putting on an act to hide how frightened they are. Excuse me a moment. Thought somebody was knocking at the door. It's elsewhere in the house. Either way, it's best to make the most of any happy moments. This is the calm before the storm. One final storm.
Hey there, Monarch. Glad to see you made it here. I'm happy we're all on the same boat.
Yeah, it makes me feel way better. If I was stuck with other people, I'd be worried, but in this situation, I'm not. I'm perfectly comfortable.
I'm just doing my best to hang in there. This whole life at sea thing really isn't my style. I can't wait to get back and settle down for good.
Oh yeah, poor Pro has seasickness.
Knock on wood, Pro. Don't get arrogant before the final battle. This is a huge gamble. You need to give it your all.
Me? Arrogant? Never. Anyway, I need to take my mind off of this water stuff. How about we go sit in the crew quarters and play some cards?
It struck me. How's the ending gonna change since I have, like, 3 people that I've flirted with kind of excessively? Like, how is it gonna end? Am I gonna be splitting my time between the 3? Am I gonna have to make a choice? Is only one going to survive?
Sure, but I think Domek is about to make a speech. He's been lost in conversation with Howl for a while now. I overheard them talking about our plan of attack in Balteus.
Or maybe I'll be able to have all 3 at once.
All right, I can wait. Maybe you should get over there, Monarch. I'm pretty sure that's something you'll want to be a part of.
That's true, and I was making my way over there anyway. Ulrich and Pro go about their business, but Valessa and Fortune stay.
Good luck, Monarch. I hope we get to spend more time together. But I understand if we don't get to. This is probably the most important moment of your life. So do whatever you need.
Yeah, as much as we need you, I think the world needs you more. Hopefully, this isn't goodbye. But there's always a chance that it is. Since we're going to Balteus, we need to treat that as a real option.
It's true, as grim as the conversation made it feel. Before I can respond, they both step forward and hug me at the same time. I let out a soft laugh and wrap my arms around them. Together we've all come so far.
Thanks for everything, Monarch. I think you have some planning to do, so I'll let you go.
Yeah, just know that I'll never forget our time together. If we play our cards right, then we can have more of that after the war. I know things have been crazy, but with you two by my side, it's been easier.
Aww. With the hug broken, we nod at one another with big smiles. I'm sure we'd see each other again, so I don't let it get me down. There was no way we'd get to the end of this without crossing paths again. I make my way over to Dominic and Hal, scanning my surroundings as I usually do. Our pirate allies run about the ship, making last-minute preparations and adjustments. It's nice to know that we had their sailing expertise. So many important people were on board. Because of that, something told me that our ship would be in the very front of the pack. But I wouldn't know for sure until I talked to Dominic and Hal. They turned to face me. I could tell that they're stressed out. It's apparent on their faces. I asked them what's up.
Hey, Monarch. We were just taking care of some planning. I think we have a pretty good idea of what we're going to do. Now that we've talked it out, I think our chances are great.
Dominic is correct. Our confidence has increased tenfold. Thanks to some last-minute information, we now have the edge. Hopefully we can keep that when we put our plan into practice.
They glanced at the scrolls that they're holding. I noticed Grizz's signature on them, as well as a Mazaean seal. He worked for the Triumvirate too, so I'm sure his intel would be valuable.
I guess I should tell everybody what we're planning then. I'll go stand at the head of the ship and give myself a platform. They might want to hear from you too, Monarch, so be ready.
I stand back and watch as he takes slow steps towards the head of the ship. I didn't even know what they were planning, so I'd be learning at the same time. However, due to the fact that they were working together, I knew we were good hands. Alex watches him pass by, and I could tell he's tired of waiting around. It wouldn't be much longer before we set sail, so I hope he can wait a bit longer. Once the pirates start preparing the ship to leave, their shouts would drown everything out. After a few more moments, he reaches the head of the ship and clears his throat. Gathering the attention of everybody nearby, he mounts a crate to get higher ground. A silence overtakes the entire ship, but he has no problems rising to overcome it.
Well, I guess this is the eve of our final attack. I know many of you are wondering just what's going to happen. I'll explain more later, but right now, I can tell you a bit of what we're planning. We should arrive in Balteus just as the sun is rising. When we do, we'll be all meeting at a central location for one final meeting. It's important that everybody is on the same page before we take any big steps. However, our first big step will be to secure the Grand Library. Holding the proprietor hostage, we'll station our army there as a pseudo-HQ. I bet you're wondering why we've chosen the library. Well, our reasoning is twofold. First of all, we've been told that the Honor Guard cannot set foot inside. There's some sort of ward on the property, presumably so the owner can be alone. We're not sure why they prefer to work alone, but we know they're important to the Triumvirate. That is part of our second reason. Taking them hostage, we will extract information. We need anything we can gather that will help us with our next step, the final attack. While information is extracted, we can use the safety of the library to rest and recuperate. After that rest, we will gather one more time and begin our final assault. The Monarch will lead a small team and infiltrate the castle, attacking the Triumvirate directly. The rest of us will lead the Honor Guard to the town square and fight them there as a distraction. With the distraction as large as we're planning, the Monarch should be unimpeded. He will kill the Triumvirate and destroy the large idol at the back of their chambers. We believe this idol to be of importance to them, so we must destroy it in order to win. With the blade plunged into that idol, the Monarch will tap into its power. He will use it to deactivate the Honor Guard, and the suits of armor will crumble. At that point, victory is ours. We will gather in the castle atrium and count the survivors.
Everybody looks at me as Dom explains this part of the plan. It's my first time hearing it, but all of it makes perfect sense. It's a good strategy. We don't know what the idol is, but I could definitely use its power like I did in our HQ. With the Triumvirate dead and their honor guard dissolved, victory was ours. We still have to worry about Halen and Shane, but I'm sure they'd pop up somewhere. I feel confident. Giving everybody a nod, they turn their attention back to Domic's platform.
As soon as we arrive, I'll share this plan with everybody else. So until then, I'd advise getting some rest. You're going to need it. That is, unless there's anything you want to say to all of us, Monarch.
All eyes are on me once again, and I take a few steps forward. Domic jumps off the crate, leaving me a platform to stand on. A speech? I've never given one of those in my life. I don't know. My uncertainty must come across in my demeanor as they start urging me on. Even break away from each other, leaving a clear path for me to walk forward. I am, technically, their leader. It makes sense for me to talk. I'd have to get used to this. I continue to walk forward and notice smiles appear on their faces. The impact that my actions and attitude have on everybody here is very clear. It's a good thing that this level of responsibility was given to someone who can handle. Well, I don't know. I still don't know if I can handle it. A few minutes later, I'm on top of the crate, matching the deep gaze of all my subjects. Excuse me. Just burping a lot. No idea why. Silence overtakes everything. I can hear the calm of the water against the docks of Mazeo. It was clear that I'd have to break the silence. I clear my throat and think of what I should say. The speech is a culmination of all your choices thus far. I'm going to save right now because I have no idea what the heck it's going to say. Champions of the rebellion, my family, it is our time to be heard. It is time for our enemy to realize that we will stop at nothing to see them fall. They start to mutter amongst themselves, nodding in agreement with everything I say. The roads of this journey have been paved with compromise and change. But they have been our changes. We do not conform to their idea of purity and perfection. That is exactly why we will win. A bunch of them start cheering with wide grins on their faces. I'm speaking from the heart, speaking from instinct, and it's working. I smile now too, and my words from this moment on are filled with confidence. We will leave behind a world of freedom. We'll embrace everybody who has been wrongfully oppressed. Put simply, we will give hope to those who have found their own was stolen. Due to the Triumvirate's rule, that number is far too high. But it ends now. No longer will victims find themselves blinded by revenge. No longer will servants find themselves lost to a quest for redemption. The crowd is roaring with applause, cheering on my every word. I know they want more, so I try and think of what I should say next. We have more power than any group of people who have ever spoken up against the Triumvirate. With visions like my own, we have an army of seers willing to fight for us. Able to see the future, and every move the enemy can make will be unstoppable. I grab the blade from my back and slowly unsheath it. Most importantly, we have this. Holding the blade out, they explode with even more applause. I held a symbol that almost guaranteed our victory and our freedom. Nobody has ever had or ever will have a better chance of taking them down. Using this blade, I will create a world just like Salus had always envisioned. When this is all over, we will live in a united world. We will stand together, strong. Everybody will have a voice, and together we will find harmony. We will find peace. I put the blade back in its scabbard, signaling that I'm almost done speaking. Raising my fist in the air, I give one last shout. One last call to unify our cause. For the rebellion! With a wide smile and met with a large round of applause, I jump off the crate. Taking it as a sign that we're ready to depart, the pirates start preparing to set sail. I should probably meet with Dominic and Howell one last time before deciding what to do. As I approach them, I notice they look happier than I've ever seen. I never saw myself as a public speaker, so I'm quite surprised at what happened. Doubts of my efficacy were still there, but seeing my comrades smile helped that worry dissipate.
Eloquently put, Monarch. Better than my own speeches, I have to admit. I could see just how much everybody looks up to you.
There's a lot of my own personal experiences with having to do stuff in public speaking. Like any class presentation sort of thing that I had to do in college. I always hated doing it, and I would put it off almost for as long as possible. Then I tended to do very well once I got up there, and the teacher's like, yeah, no, you actually, you were engaging with the audience fairly well, you were looking around at everybody, meanwhile I'm sitting there interpreting this, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, waving my head back and forth, no. The teacher's like, no, you were looking at everybody. You were engaging with everybody, you were answering questions, you had answers to everything. I'm surprised, because every moment I up there was a moment of panic.
It was quite impressive, we must say. You're going to make a fine leader. We're sure of it. The greatest asset of any ruler is the ability to inspire hope.
Which now makes me question. Nope, morale did not go up.
And I'd say we have that in droves now. I trust that you're okay with our plan, Monarch. Sorry that we didn't have time to pass it by you first.
I nod. It all seems good.
Good. It seems everything is now in order. Perhaps you should go and get some rest, Monarch. We will wake you if there are any matters of importance.
Giving a moment of thought, because I really honestly think there has not been that many days so far in this. Because let's see, it was... Just to count the number of days that it's been since we started this thing. So we started out in Valinor. Valinor to Peregrino was 1 day. Peregrino to the Rebel HQ was day 2. Here the timeline gets a little tricky because there might have been some time where I rested in there, but let's assume that when the attack on Rebel HQ happened, it's still day 2. Waking up after being mysteriously healed by the spirit idol, later revealed to be partly Howl's doing, starts day 3. The ship to Alarinthia takes us into day 4. Alarinthia itself is only 1 day, so that's 5. It's literally been like a week and a half. Not that I haven't gotten any rest, but a week and a half of this much shit going on, I would be exhausted. So yes, I would like the rest.
Yeah. We need you rested when we reach Balteus. You know our plan, and the pirates are about to set sail. There's nothing left for you to do. At least for now.
I guess he was right. Until we arrived, things were out of my hands. After thanking them for the opportunity, I make my way to the crew quarters. I value the opportunity to rest, but given the circumstances, that rest won't come easy. Aelin and Shane gather at the docks of Alteus. Surrounded by honor guard, they order them to prepare a small fleet. They knew the end was coming and they had to meet it head on.
What was your reasoning behind this again? I'm surprised the Triumvirate decided to play along with your plan.
They have to come by sea, and this is the main point of entry. If we leave from here, we can intercept them before they arrive. The plan is to thin out their numbers as early as possible.
What if this fails and they sink our fleet?
Scared of dying, are you?
No, that's not what I meant. It's a valid concern, Shane.
Well, in my case, I don't really have anything left to lose. Let me lead this charge myself, Halen. You can go back to the castle. You'll be needed there for a second line of defense, if they make it that far.
I trust that they won't.
Me too. Just tell the Triumvirate I'll be there soon. I have no intention of dying. Not to any of those weaklings.
Shane instructs the honor guard to get on board the ships. It's a small fleet of only a few ships. Halen watches and scoffs.
You have a death wish. You know that. I get that you hate them, but don't throw your life away. The Triumvirate rewards service. Keep that in mind, all right?
Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I'll be back before you know it, so go and have a rest. Just wait, Halen. If they even arrive, you'll find that their hope is lost.
Halen smiles, a sinister smirk. He knows exactly what Shane is implying.
Very well. I can get behind that thought. Be careful, though. You're a good apprentice, Shane. I trust that you and the Honor Guard will do some real damage.
Yeah, that's the idea. I'll see you back at the castle.
Sure.
Halen starts to walk away but quickly turns around.
You know, Sovi never let me do stuff like this. As his apprentice, he shut down almost every plan I ever had. I have to be better than him, though. I'm trusting you with a lot here.
Don't worry, I promise not to let you down. The rebellion ends today. You have my word, Master.
Halen nods and starts making his way back to the castle. Shane remains, muttering to himself with trembling fists.
And it all starts with that little figurehead of theirs. It's almost time, Seer. You'll be joining Domek soon enough.
He still doesn't know! He still doesn't know. I toss and turn, getting minimal amounts of sleep. The blade rests against my bed, ready to grab at a moment's notice. I fade in and out of sleep, fighting a mixture of both anxiety and tranquility. Just when I'm about to fall asleep, a negative thought jolts me back awake. Excuse me, I have no idea why I'm just, suddenly gassy today. We had no idea what would happen when we arrived in Baltaeus. It was terrifying. I realize that sleeping probably isn't going to happen right now, so I get out of the hard bed. Just as I do, I notice somebody approaching out of the corner of my eye. Grabbing the blade, I prepare myself for anything out of a twisted paranoia.
Hey now, put that thing away. I didn't mean to startle you, Monarch.
Oh, hi, it's been a while since I've seen you. It's just Vivian. That's a relief.
It appears there's been some complications. Domek wanted me to tell you that you're needed on deck. You'll see what I mean when you get
Ow.
up there, alright?
I just hit my whole desk with my fist. Thankfully it was the knuckle that hit it, not like a finger, but Jesus. I nod. It must be important if he's interrupting my rest. As I start to walk away, Vivian puts a hand on my shoulder.
And I just wanted to tell you that I know what happened in Alarinthia. I know that Pro and Ulrich teamed up in order to throw our fight.
I gulp, unsure of how Vivian would react to such a news. But much to my surprise, he lets out a hearty laugh.
You know, I always said that Alarinthia needed to be ruled with smarts. Draco would just sit in his throne, thinking that strength solved everything. Using a scheme like they did to outsmart him. It's almost poetic, isn't it? Besides, it also sent a message to every Alarinthian. Their old way of doing things was wrong. Individual strength doesn't matter. It's how strong we are when we team up, under shared ideals, that truly matters.
You're taking that a lot better than I thought you would have.
And for sending them that message, I commend you. Good luck out there on the deck. I think you'll need it.
He releases my grip on my shoulder. His grip on my shoulder, there we go. For a moment, I was scared things would go south. I'm glad that he's so accepting of what transpired. Dropping the issue from my mind, I head up to the deck. I had no idea why Domek needed me, but that thought was frightening. Slowly ascending the steps, my mind is plagued with unfortunate possibilities. As soon as I arrive on deck, I see exactly why I was needed. Off in the distance, we're met by a fleet of ships belonging to the Triumvirate. They're far, but not far enough away that the sheen of the honor guard is concealed. Domek and Howl immediately run over. I can see the panic on their faces. It was clear that battle would be imminent. I meet them halfway to see what their plan is.
We have no plan. Perhaps this is time for Domek to shine. A master strategist. Is that not what your people say?
Hal, this is no time to be petty. We need to put our heads together and figure this out. Let's see. It's a small fleet, maybe only half the size of ours.
Naval warfare was not something the monarchy practiced. We lived in peace, Tomek. Our world was not discordant like this one.
We exchange glances. Domek seems uncertain and a little worried. He strikes a pose of thought, and it's a while before he breaks the silence.
Okay, I'll do it. We know this battle is lost if the Monarch doesn't make it ashore. So our goal should be securing the safety of this boat and the lives of those on board. This is when we need to rely on everyone's strengths. We need the pirates to take action.
He waves over Alex.
Alex, we need you to order your forces to charge. This is precisely why I wanted to form a treaty, for battle at sea. I need you to occupy the forces. Distract them while we slip by.
Slip by? They'll notice you right away. Baltian ships are equipped with projectile weaponry. One or two good shots and you'll be underwater in minutes.
That's what I'm counting on.
Huh?
We're going to let them sink this ship.
Are you crazy?
I have a plan, Alex. Everybody, listen up. We'll time it so we're close by when they hit us. As we sink, we can hop over to their ship and hijack it. Using their own projectile weapons, we'll start sinking them one by one. Their attention will be divided. They'll be getting attacked from multiple sides. We can use that to our advantage. They won't be able to retaliate through the chaos.
Right, of course. Should I send the order right now?
Yeah, we need to do this immediately. There's no room for error. This is the end.
Yes, sir.
Alex runs off and climbs the netting of the ship. I look over at the other ships, and pirates start doing the same. It's almost like they have a entire language to communicate over long distances. That was an impressive sight to see. However, seeing Domek think on his feet was equally impressive. With a sigh and a smile, confidence overtakes the panic from moments before.
Domek, we must say, that was pretty impressive. Hopefully now you realize that visions only hold you back.
Huh?
Look at what happened back in the Rebel HQ. You relied on a vision. You tried to fulfill some prophecy. In a way, that is limiting. You plan your strategy around certainties. But there are no certainties in war. Assume that the enemy is a counter for your every action. In this case, we should also plan for a scenario where the enemy prevails.
Domek shakes his head.
They won't. Simply because we can't afford it. Any losses at this point would mean the end of our cause. Trust in the pirates, Howl. Trust in all of us. We can do this.
Howl simply nods. Moments later, the pirates launch their assault. We all lose our balance as our ship takes a sharp turn, moving in a new direction. This was a risky plan, but like Domek requested, I chose to place my trust in him. If trust wouldn't carry us to victory, then it would be our strength and resolve. I hold on to the side of the ship as our speed increases. Everybody braces themselves. They're not sure what's going on, so Domek draws his sword and raises it into the air.
Everybody listen up. The final hour is upon us. Our pirate army will be charging against the enemy fleet. While they're distracted, we'll slip in and hijack one of their ships. That means we'll be sacrificing this vessel, so don't be alarmed if they deal us a fatal blow. As we're sinking, we'll jump over and board the enemy. Their ships are equipped with projectile weaponry. Using their own ship, we will turn their weapons against them. They won't know where to focus, and we'll use the chaos to our advantage.
He starts to talk a bit louder as our ship picks up speed. We move away from the main fleet, preparing to approach from the flank. I notice the soldiers nod, accepting Domek's orders and plan without hesitation.
If things go south, I need all of you to protect the Monarch. Without him, we will lose not only this battle, but the war as well. His life and the blade that he carries should be our top priority. Do I make myself clear?
Everybody cheers in approval and raises their sword like Domek. Then we all stand and watch the bulk of our fleet as the battle begins. We slowly move away from the action. I can tell that some are relieved. As soon as the pirates get close enough, the honor god retaliates. They launch heavy projectiles from catapults and shoot harpoons from wooden structures. The pirates, with their sailing expertise, are mostly able to counter by altering their trajectory. However, not all of them can do so. I witnessed several ships get torn apart and start to sink. My heart sinks with them, knowing that they were willing to sacrifice themselves for me. It seems that the battle is on in full force. They get closer and start to board each other. Can hear swords clashing as the honor guard tries to defend against the pirates' charge. Ships on both sides start to sink, and soon enough it's almost impossible to see what's happening. From this distance it's too chaotic, but if enemy ships are sinking, we must have seized some weapons. That means the tables have started to turn, but it's up to us to play our part as well. I turn back and look at where we're headed. We're dangerously close to some enemy ships. Dominic calls out to everybody, shifting their attention away from the distant battle.
This is it. There's no turning back. Everybody, brace yourselves to charge.
Saving. Hopefully things don't go horribly wrong. I can see the honor guard prepare their weapons. When I scan my surroundings, I can see our forces prepare as well. A line of archers forms, ready to attack the enemies at a moment's notice.
Hold!
He places a fist in the air. An intense silence follows. Both sides are armed. The question is, who attacks first? I take a deep breath and pull out the blade of Exodus.
Hold!
I look over at the ships we've left behind. The numbers are easily halved. But this goes for the enemy as well. This is clearly the turning point. What happened next would decide the fate of our entire cause. And it began with a barrage of projectile weaponry. The enemy attacked our ship with everything they had. I could feel the hull get torn apart and everything start shaking.
Fire!
The archers return fire, knocking out the suits of armor manning the weapons. I look back at the wheel of the ship and Alex spins it, turning us toward the enemy vessels.
I hope you're ready to jump!
Dominic nods, and then a moment later everything erupts into chaos. Our forces jump to the enemy ship after a long-running start. They land safely and start decimating the honor guard.
See you on the other side, Monarch!
With a smirk, he follows our soldiers, jumping across to the enemy ship. Landing with a roll, he immediately starts fighting, displaying impressive skill. I didn't get to see him fight in our HQ or in Alarentia. It's quite the sight. He dodges the enemy attacks with ease and retaliates with expertise. Taking out multiple suits of armor with a single swing, he clearly holds his own. I turn around and order the remaining soldiers to charge. I save myself for last. Before I jump, I notice that Alex is still at the wheel. I shout his name and tell him to get across as soon as possible. The ship has already started to sink and water rises at my feet.
You know, any good captain is supposed to go down with their ship. But I guess there's no point living my life by an outdated code of honor. Thanks to the treaty, there'll be a new life waiting for me after all of this.
He leaves the wheel behind and places a hand on my shoulder.
And honestly, it's all thanks to you. Let's make this jump together, Monarch. We're a team until the end, no matter what.
No matter what. We move to the opposite side of the ship, putting distance between us and the enemy vessel. I notice that most of the honor guard has fallen and our soldiers are manning the weaponry. That's a good sign. With a feeling that victory in ours, Alex and I start to sprint towards the enemy. He makes it there first, jumping up on the railing of our ship and launching himself across the gap. I'm not too far behind, and I jump up on the railing moments after. However, I make it no further. An arrow pierces through my shoulder and I fall back onto our ship in a pool of freezing water. I pull out the arrow with a grunt. Blood oozes from the wound, but it's nothing major. We could patch it up as soon as the enemy ships were taken care of. I rise to my feet. Looking up, I notice immediately the source of the arrow. It wasn't the honor guard. It was Shane. With an evil smirk, he jumps across, boarding our ship. It's still sinking, but I have time. If I can take care of him fast enough, then I'll be able to carry out my plan as originally intended. Saving? Because I have no idea what's going to fucking happen. Instead of coming for me, he runs toward the wheel, steering our ship away from the chaos. That wasn't good. My time was limited if we were both sinking and making the distance greater. He must know exactly what he's doing. Part of me wonders if we played into some sort of trap. I look at my allies, and they seem to be doing a good enough job as they enact our plan. My fist shakes as I grip the blade of Exodus. Shane scoffs as he watches. I shout at him in anger and despair. I call him a traitor and condemn him. You almost killed Dominic. He caused irreparable damage to my family.
A traitor? Not from where I'm standing. Dominic abandoned me, and it's all because of you. He's a selfish fool. All he cares about is that stupid sword.
I keep walking toward him and the ship shakes violently. Water keeps spilling on the deck and I'm standing almost ankle deep.
I had a plan. We had a plan. And he threw it all away. The moment you walked through that door, he let you replace me. He left me to rot in the Triumvirate's prison because you were more convenient.
That's not true. I try and reason with Shane, but to no avail.
You saw how many people died in your HQ during that little attack. If you couldn't wield that sword, you'd be buried down there with the rest of them. Domek didn't care about you or your friends. He only cared about your power.
Again, that's not true. He's clearly been converted by the Triumvirate.
I was thinking long and hard about what I should do. You know, what was my place in all this?
Also, I just realized, news right for Shane. Much to my surprise, he throws both of his daggers on the ground.
And I realized that if I served the Triumvirate, I'd receive the same power. It seemed fitting. End Domek's rebellion with the same thing he was relying on.
He smirks, and I can tell that the man Domek cared about was already dead.
I wish he could be here to see this. But you'll tell him the story, won't you?
A moment later, he charges at me, unarmed. But almost in the blink of an eye, the blade appears in his hands. Robbed from mine, I have no choice but to jump out of the way. I run to the opposite side of the ship where he threw his pair of daggers. Picking them up, I assume a fighting stance and wait for him to charge again.
Not strong enough to take it back by willpower alone? Thought so. You're weak. See, I was blessed by the Triumvirate. All you got was worthless energy from the realm of spirits. Out of pity, too.
He doesn't seem to know about the monarchy or the true nature of the power within me. Big surprise. The Triumvirate lost Sylvie when he found out. I should use this to my advantage. As he charges, I maintain the facade that I'm weak and unable to summon back the blade. I dodge to the side once more, but slice into Shane's arm with one of his own daggers. He winces and grunts. His arm starts to bleed, but it doesn't seem to affect his performance. He charges again, and I dodge to the other side. With a roll, I slice into his leg. He stumbles. I have speed and agility, while he relies on slow, brute strength. It's easy to tell that he's never fought with such a weapon before. What am I concede? He can only really use arrows and daggers.
Is that all you got?
I won't be able to keep the same strategy forever. I need to change it up while I think of how to end this. I'm just waiting for there to be a fucking thing to show up. He charges once more, but this time I meet him head on. Holding out the daggers in a cross formation, I stop the blade from going any further. We struggle, both at almost equal strength, trembling as we try to overpower the other. I tell Shane that Domek is still alive. The spirits willed it because his cause was righteous.
Impossible!
He'd never comply if I told him to look for himself, so there's no way I can prove it. However, he seems to let up a little bit, and I'm able to overpower him some more. I push him away and tell him that it's all true. He's on the wrong side of this war.
No, you're the one on the wrong side. The rebellion is small and insignificant. Hundreds standing in a world of millions. Even if you win, they won't respect your power. They're happy living under the Triumvirate's rule. Revenge won't solve anything. Just back down.
We circle around each other, both holding out our weapons.
I was hurt by the occupation, and I wanted to fight. But I realized I was being greedy. There was no point. It's not my happiness, my satisfaction that matters. It's the world's.
It seems we reached a stalemate, both trying to talk each other down. But I wouldn't yield, and something told me that he wouldn't either. His views have been twisted, and he thinks mine have as well. We charge at each other and meet in the middle once more. The water rises, and I can tell that time is minimal. We're sinking fast. Returning to the same deadlock as before, I need to do something. I need to summon the blade back when he least expects it. My time is limited, and honestly it seems like Shane is beyond saving. But the question is, what do I do when it's back in my grasp? Okay, we have a choice. We have a choice. Kill or incapacitate. Oh god, it went silent. Uh-oh. Oh, I am gonna incapacitate. He didn't deserve to die, that much was clear. There had to be a chance that he'd see reason in the future. If I went on to win this war, maybe he'd see things differently.
You took everything from me!
As his anger and rage empowers him, I start to tremble even more. It takes a lot to resist the strength of a man wielding the blade of Exodus. I do my best to buy time until I find the right opportunity. I contest Shane's words.
You were born with everything I worked so hard to achieve! They were my family, my friends, and you took them all away!
As he starts to get more desperate and angry, I decide to take action. I let him overpower me and I step to the side, dodging his next swing.
I hate you!
But immediately after, and much to his surprise, I phase the blade back into my hands. While he's caught off guard, I raise the blade in the air and smash the base against his head. He screams and stumbles back, knocked into a daze. I step forward and do the same thing again. I'm careful not to go too far, and I stop the moment I find enough time to make my escape. He slumps down on the ground, almost knocked unconscious. I can hear him cry and whimper. There was no way to make it out to know if he'd make it out of this alive, but at least he had the chance.
Tomek.
This was enough of a distraction. I had to get moving. Looking back at Shane, it's crushing how far he seems to have fallen. When I sight Domek again, it might be wise not to even tell him what happened. I jump in the water and immediately start swimming toward the ship my comrades are on. But soon after jumping in, the freezing water makes my limbs feel stiff and my chest heavy. Fighting it for as long as I can, I keep swimming. I know I can do this. This is no time to give up. When my vision fades back in, I feel that I am being dragged. What happened? My body is covered in snow and shivering. I must have passed out back in the water. I shake my head, and whoever is carrying me seems to notice. They put me down and sigh.
You're awake. Thank goodness. When I found you in the water, I was starting to worry. What happened back there anyway? You were so far behind us.
I shake my head, telling him that I can't remember much. A necessary lie. If he knew what Shane tried to do and how lost he was, it would damage his morale. He's needed to see my survival as a triumph. We couldn't afford any damaged morale.
Oh, I see. Can you stand on your own? We're resting in a shack that's not too far away. It's nothing fancy, but it'll give us the privacy we need.
Nodding, I get up on my feet. I stumble a bit, but Domek can tell I'm still fine.
Just follow me, alright? I'll give you an update once we arrive. A lot of stuff happened while you were out.
Normally a statement like that under these circumstances would fill me with fear. But Domek says it with such a calm demeanor that I'm led to believe that everybody is fine. Holding that optimism in my head, I smile as we make our way toward the shack he mentioned. As soon as we arrive, I make my way to the shack and lean against it. We had barely arrived in Balteus and everything was already chaotic. I don't know what I was expecting, so it's not exactly a surprise either. All of my comrades are scattered about, talking amongst themselves. I'm glad to see they survived. I try to account for them one by one as I look around. After a few moments, something strikes me. I can't see either Fortim or Valessa. Howl approaches me and he lets out a sigh of relief. I can imagine that my momentary disappearance stressed everybody out.
Good to see you, Monarch. We were worried. It seems that almost everybody's accounted for.
I ask him where Valessa and Fortim are. His demeanor quickly changes to that of sadness.
They are some of the few we have yet to find, but we are certain that they live. We haven't found their bodies. Many of them washed ashore, casualties of the battle at sea.
Well, fuck.
We are relieved to know that you are not one of those casualties. The plan is to wait in and around the shack until everybody shows up. This might be a good time for you to get some rest. Please relax.
Relax while my best friends are missing. It was a tall order. I tell Hal that I might not be able to.
Please do not resort to worst-case scenario thinking. This is a time to be hopeful. We stand on the precipice of victory. We will go and look for them personally. You deserve some rest.
I nod and thank him as I turn away. Scanning the area once more, I see who I can find. A few of the comrades I can find slowly gather around me.
Hey, good to see that you're still among the living. That was pretty intense, wasn't it? Sure scared me, at least. I'm not one for sailing or fighting, so combining both? Yikes.
Yeah, Pro was scared. Thankfully, I have strength for two. He cowered in the corner while I did all of the hard work.
Did not.
Sure.
They share a quick laugh. But soon after that, I can tell that something is wrong. Is there something that I'm not being told about all of this?
It's about Alex, Monarch. He's resting in the shack, in critical condition. I think we can nurse him back to health, but I'm not sure.
Oh no.
Look, it's probably best not to think about it too much. He's in good hands. We just need to forge on as a team. If it weren't for him, we'd all be dead at sea. This is a victory.
I guess that's true.
It was just important that we gave you a status report. I think once everybody gets here, we'll hold another meeting. Our strategy may need some adapting after these losses.
Excuse me while I crack my knuckles, which is you might have heard over the mic, I don't know.
Yeah, go take a breather. You deserve it. Right now, our options are pretty limited.
It's not ideal, but he's right. All we can do right now is wait. Thanks for the chat, Monarch.
I guess there wasn't much left for me to do. I make my way to the shack, hopefully to relax. But it was chasing an impossibility. I'd find no rest here. Not until everything was over. And that would mean either we'd win or die. As I enter the shack, I pray that it's the former. As soon as I'm inside, I let out a huge sigh. The emotions behind it are almost undiscernible. There was so much going on, my mind was overwhelmed. I guess I should take care of the important stuff first. The pirate forces suffered heavy casualties, and Alex was almost lost. I can see him resting on a small bed that sits in the corner of the shack. He notices me and waves me over. It's a soft motion, I can tell he's in pain.
Hey, how are you holding up?
I tell him that I'm doing alright.
At least that makes one of us. I almost died. One of my men shielded me. That's the way to power, I guess. Watching them die.
He winces in pain, and I see a wound on his abdomen.
Never gets any easier, though. Hey, can you promise me one thing?
I nod, and he waves me even closer as his voice weakens. He holds out his hand, and I shake it with a firm grip.
Give them hell for me, Monarch. If I die, I want to die knowing that we've won. Show them no quarter. They don't deserve it.
I nod and then release the grip on his hand. He dozes off into slumber, and I decide to leave him be. Rest would be important right now. He shouldn't force anything. After standing up, I look down at him. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't even be here right now. I smile and silently thank him for all that he's done. The door to the shack swings open, startling me. I turn to let Grizz look around, oblivious to my presence. After a few moments, he notices me and lets out a nervous laugh.
I never thought I'd see this place again. This is where I used to live. Before I joined the Triumvirate. A simple shepherd. That's all I was. They said they saw greatness in me.
Shit, we're in your old house? Uh-oh. God dang it. It's doing this again. It's always during... It's... Why? Everything just kind of like... froze here. Let me just double check and make sure the stream is going. Oop. So if I go... here... Okay, so yeah, it seems to be going. God dang it. Why are you freezing on me like this? Why are you freezing on me like this? Excuse me while my voice rings out twice over the phone. Okay, yeah, so it's still going, so hopefully it just is being weird for a little bit.
But now I know
There it
that
is.
all they saw was a naive man ready to serve. They prey on the weak, on those whose minds can be warped. I'm a different man now, but perhaps my change came too late.
He steps forward and places his hands on the table.
I don't know if this is important or not, but Balteus has changed. It used to be a beautiful place, but now it's almost like it's dying. I can't put my finger on it, but something bad is happening here. So be careful, all right? We can't lose you, Monarch. But if it's within your power, I'd like to see Balteus restored. Placing your throne here and settling down would be a good idea.
I agree, even though I'm not entirely sure what he's talking about. Balteus had changed. It's dying. I'm not sure how that works. But he's not the one to lie, so I just let him continue talking.
They made me kill my flock of sheep before joining them. They said it symbolized the death of my old life and the start of my new one. I felt awful, but I still chose to comply. I wasn't the smartest when I was younger. That's why I wear the skin of my favorite sheep. I called him Lassiter. I wore him as a tribute, but he slowly turned into a symbol of my resentment. Seeing him every day, that constant reminder, was part of why I defected. I couldn't live with what I did, so I sought redemption. Of course, you know the rest, so I won't bore you. Thank you for listening to an old man's ramblings.
I almost hate to say it, but he does look good for his age. Whatever his age is. I'm assuming he's in his mid-50s compared to the rest of the cast, so yeah. Because there's no sign of him being, like, Inquisitor status, so I doubt he'd be... You like I'm, like, shaking over here? No. I have a mount now for my microphone, and I couldn't tell if it was, like, shaking. It's not. I give him my sympathy. That was an awful thing to experience. They use their status as gods to manipulate young and impressionable people. I can imagine that abandoning your moral code is easier if it's to impress gods like them. I'm glad he survived those tunnels and chose to assist us in the final battle. I make sure to tell him that, and he gives me a wide smile in exchange.
That means a lot. It really does. I want to see the triumvirate fall, even if it means losing my life. Giving everybody out there a happy future, now that would let me rest easy. Of course, my survival would be preferable. I promise not to do anything too reckless. You have my word. That's all I can really give you for now. I hope that it's enough.
He starts walking around the shack, inspecting things. There must be a lot of memories here, if this is where he used to live. It's probably best to leave him to himself, given the current circumstances. There isn't much left to do but rest, I suppose. I move to the corner and press my back against the wall once more. Hopefully they're all able to find Felissa and Vortim. I can't lose them now. I'll rest in here for a while and gather my bearings. This is not a time for freaking out. Continue the story when you're ready by clicking the arrow on top right corner. Oh. Saving, I guess, because this is now a new spot. We're at 23 hours, and I've heard most people get this in 21 to 24. I think some of it is just from the fact that I've been leaving the choices and reading everything. So, we're close. Alright, let's continue. I mean, I really have nothing else to do. There's nothing else I can do here, so yeah. After a few hours of waiting, I almost can't handle it anymore. It's impossible for me to rest when my friends could be in danger. Making my way to the exit, I cross my fingers, hoping that things are okay. Just as I'm about to leave, the door is swung open, catching me off guard. I take a few steps to avoid getting hit, letting out a sigh of relief afterwards. It's Ulrich, but that's not all. A few moments after he enters, Valessa and Fortim follow. They're alive! What a huge relief this was. All the worry had taken its toll. We hug each other with big smiles on our faces. For a while there, I was scared of what might have happened. Thankfully, they're okay. I could rest easy as we move forward with everything.
Sorry for taking a bit longer than you thought. We've never been here before, so we got lost.
Yeah, and it was even harder because you're keeping quiet. It's hard to find people who don't want to be found, you know?
I release the hug and tell them that everything is fine. I was worried, but I knew that they were capable of surviving.
Can't believe how cold this place is. It looks so uninviting, too. Scary, almost.
Yeah, hopefully we can change that. The triumvirate seems neglectful, but why?
I shrug, unsure of how to answer that question. We're here to kill the triumvirate, not reason with them. I have a feeling this, among other questions, would remain unanswered. Domik and Howl soon enter the shack. Followed by more of our comrades, we quickly fill the room. Gathering around the table, it was clear that it was time to plan.
All right, we need to talk about what happens next. Until now, we've been pretty vague since time was short. But there's no more delaying. This is everything we've got. We need to push through the town square before anything can happen. Balteus is fortified by a large wall, so we can't get to the library from the outside. This means that the bulk of the battle will take place within the city itself. However, we want to get to the Grand Library with as little resistance as possible. To that end, we'll have our created seers go in first and cause a distraction. If they can lure the Honor Guard away from the town square, we can slip in. Since the Honor Guard can't enter the library, it's perfect for a base of operations. Let's face it, this shack is dangerous, so we should get moving as soon as possible. Once we're in the library, we can relax and prepare to launch our final assault.
And what will that final assault consist of?
Good question. Here's what we've been thinking. If the floor is mine, I'll reveal our plan.
Howl nods, giving Domik the floor. He steps forward. Placing a scroll on the table, he promptly unfolds it. I can see that it's a map of Balteus, the entire city. Everybody gathers around the table, putting aside any other business. If the strategy was at sea was any indication, I know this operation is in good hands. They certainly seem to know what they're doing. I can feel our morale rising. He starts to speak with certainty and with confidence. It's impressive. They must have been planning this for a while. We all watch intently, curious to see what kind of strategy they have.
This is the main area of the city. Our goal is to ensure that the monarch has a clear path to the castle. That way, he can slip inside and kill the triumvirate with minimal effort. Hal and myself will lure the Honor Guard to the town square. This is where the bulk of the battle will take place. It shouldn't be too hard. With the added might of our draconic allies, we'll have no problem at all. Pro will sneak away from the town square and infiltrate the castle. His job will be to cause a distraction, luring enemies away from the atrium. With that done, the rest should be smooth sailing for the monarch.
I'll go with Pro, if that's okay with you. I know the layout of the castle, and he'll need some backup. We can't expect him to hold off an entire horde of suits at once.
Oh my god, is this going to be like an action that saves Pro in the final fight?
Very well. Grizz will accompany Pro. The two of them will have no problem clearing the castle. The bulk of the Honor Guard will be with me in the town square. Alright, that takes care of Hal, Pro, and myself. The rest of you will accompany the monarch to the castle. Let's see here. I should have another map detailing our current area. The only way to approach the Triumvirate's castle is directly from the front. That is, unless you know a secret or two. This involves a hidden mountain pass. Using this pass, you can go around Balteus. It'll be much easier than sneaking through the city. Joining you will be Ulrich, Fortame, and Valessa.
How did you learn about this trail, Dominic? Can you be certain that it's not a trap?
Yeah, I'm certain. It came from Grizz's files. If there's anyone I trust about this nation, it's him.
Alright, fair enough. So the four of us will take the trail to the castle.
Not all the way, I'm afraid. I'll need some of you to split up on the way. There's another map here, just a second. You should emerge from the mountain pass right beside the castle. Because of all the distractions, your path inside should be clear, but I need Fortane to do something special for us first.
Me? Special? What do you need me to do?
I'll have you climb the castle, scaling the outside walls. Your job will be to get inside and ring the bell of retreat. If you can find it, it should make the honor guard stand down.
I'm beginning to think it was a very good idea that I did the heart-to-hearts where he's bad all the climbing gear.
Wait, seriously? All of them?
Yeah, all of them. I'm putting a lot of trust in you here. Do you think you can do this for us?
Of course! Climbing is my specialty. I'll have that bell ringing in no time.
Like, I'm seriously beginning to wonder, like, there's shit that's popping up now where it's like, okay, I think we'll be, like... I think I've just saved a couple people. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I think because I have Grizz, I think Pro is saved. Now that because I have, the climbing gear, Fortim is safe. Like, I'm wondering if that's actually going to play a part in this.
Good. The rest of you will enter the castle from the front. Again, your path should be clear if all goes as planned. If not, well, you'll have to fight your way through. But I believe in you.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, we can do this no problem.
Glad to hear it.
That is all we've come up with. Does everybody find it acceptable?
Everybody nods, knowing their part. It seemed like they had almost thought of it all. With a strategy like that, victory seems almost certain. As long as I can defeat the Triumvirate and that idol. Even if everybody plays their part, the end is still all on me. I do my best not to let them down. Part of me is filled with fright.
Alright, let's go outside. We'll head to the Grand Library as a group. If we can get in there without trouble, the rest will be easy.
The Created Seers should make it pretty easy for us. They're the honor gone away from the town square. If they can do that, we can slip in pretty much undetected. Hopefully they could survive the task. The operation would be divided into 2 phases then. Take the Grand Library, then take the Triumvirate's castle. With everything planned and out in the open, we exit the shack. Hope fills the air for the first time in a while. We could do this. I smile at my comrades as we head outside one by one. The cold, uninviting air assaults me as soon as I exit the shack. It's like East Crown. I'm not sure how people could survive in this place. Well, not that there's many people here, it's mainly those suits of armor. I can hear everybody talking, going over the roles they were assigned. If everybody did what they were supposed to, then we'd win this for sure. Of course, as long as I could destroy the Triumvirate and that idol they're housing.
Sneak into the castle and lure everybody away from the main atrium. Seems pretty easy to me. The Monarch will have no resistance at all.
And if I can ring that bell, then everybody will be safe. All those years of climbing is finally paid off. This is gonna be great.
Ulrich is quick to interject, putting any arrogance to rest before it can blossom.
Look, none of that is going to happen if we can't take the Grand Library. We need to establish a foothold, a safe place to retreat to if things go south.
They all nod and stop the discussion they were having. It's true, though. Without that haven, we're out in the open, completely unsafe. At least the first phase of our plan wasn't too complicated. I know we'd seize the library. I noticed that one of our comrades is carrying Alex. That's good. The library would be the best place for him to get rest. He's fast asleep, which is pretty surprising. He must be a heavy sleeper. He better not be fucking dead.
The city should only be a couple of hours away. We trust that you can all handle the cold.
We don't really have much of a choice, Hal. Let's get going. I think our goal is pretty clear.
Upon hearing that, we all start walking toward the city. I can see the impressive wall that surrounds everything. It's beautiful. However, I can't see anything past it. I have no idea what Balteus looks like. We walk through the thick layers of snow and my legs start to tire out. But I'm not in a position where I have any choice. Pushing forward is mandatory. After what feels like a small eternity, we finally arrive at the gates leading into Balteus. The town gates and the wall are an amazing sight. Intricate details are carved into the stone. It's a work of art. Something told me the monarchy made this, not the triumvirate.
This looks amazing. This must be a remnant of the monarchy, right? The triumvirate can't be this artistic. I know it.
Correct. This looks just as we remember it. However, Baltius wasn't always this cold. Something bad has happened to the nation.
Oh, I see. Like what?
We're not sure. However, it is probably due to the triumvirate. It pains us to see how much they've defiled our former home. We used to live in Baltius. It housed the throne and our ruler. To see it reduced to a frozen wasteland, it is almost too much to bear. Let us head inside. We need to see what else has changed over the years.
Now hold on a moment. And you know what? Yeah, let's hold on for 2 moments here because there's something I need to bring up that I keep forgetting about. First of all, the lesser one. Hal has the same tattoos that Ulrich does. Is he an Alarinthian? Because he's got almost the exact same tattoo shape. Plus the fucking ear things. Was he a Sixer who was just like basically went screw this? And headed for mainland and went Mazeo and Valenorth? And I mean that like Salus in a... I mean like, yeah, back when he was Salus, was he a Sixer who went to Alarinthia and just... who left Alarinthia and just said, fuck it? Because he and Ulrich have the exact same fucking tattoo, and nothing about it confirmed. Like, especially with the fact that it's Howl, it's not Salus himself, or Salus, whichever his name is. But, yeah, like, seriously? Second point. A little more prevalent because we're actually here. Hal hasn't been here in a while, and he says it's been reduced to a frozen wasteland. I was just wondering, like, oh, Grizz probably didn't have that. Oh, Grizz probably didn't fucking, what the fuck, it did live for a long time. No! How long ago did it happen that you know it was, you don't remember it being a frozen wasteland? Like, seriously, how long ago did that happen? If Grizz was a shepherd, but you say it wasn't like that before. Like, how long has it been snowing like this that made you go crazy? That made Grizz, I mean, like, how long was Grizz in service? It reminds me of what we thought would happen to Valenorth. Without the spirit idol, I'd wither away and freeze over like Eastcrown. It'd wither away and freeze over like Eastcrown. We have since learned that was false. But what happened to Balteus, then? As we start to make our way inside the city, Domek stops us. He looks a bit worried, and I can tell that he's lost in deep thought.
Seers, please come forth.
A few moments later, a group of our seers step forward.
We don't have much time to waste. As soon as we get inside, you need to get to work. Lure the Honor Guard away from our path. Understood?
Of course. Your path to the library will be clear. After the fighting dies down, we will come and join you. It should be easy, so don't expect us to be too far behind.
Yes, of course. Thank you very much. Let's see, is there anything else to cover?
He turns back to face the rest of the group. Gulping, it's clear that he's fraught with anxiety.
Look, we're about to do something that's never been done before. We're seizing territory from the Triumvirate, right under their noses. Much like they did to Mazeo. We're about to occupy Balteus. But that does not mean we are like them. We do what we do in order to gain our freedom. They occupied Mazeo. wanting to oppress us even further.
We all exchange glances and nod at one another.
I want you to all remember that as we press forward, war can blur the lines between good and evil. But I know where we stand. If you know that too, then there's nothing that can stop you. You are heroes.
With nothing left to say, we slowly make our way into the city. I can tell that due to Domic's encouraging words, everybody is happy. However, as we enter, nothing prepares us for the sight that awaits us. Is it, like, ruined to shit? Howl immediately steps forward, taking in the sight before him. Balteus looks almost uninhabitable. It's in a state of decay and death. I know the Honor Guard doesn't need a paradise, but this is crazy.
What have they done?
It's clear that Howl is hurt. This used to be the monarchy's home, after all. Hopefully there would be a way to reverse all of this. It isn't right.
This is, well, I certainly didn't expect this. I'm guessing it didn't look like this in your time?
No. Baldia's was a paradise. This is unacceptable, Domic. We must find a way to fix it.
Of course. There's no way I'll let this stand. It's a bit of a shock, but our plan remains unchanged. Secure the Grand Library, then kill the Triumvirate.
After he's done talking, we see a horde of Honor Guard suits walk by. We quickly run off to the side and hide in a nearby building. I've never seen anything like this. The building is pitch black. Pieces of it crumble off, almost like it's been burnt or charred. But it hasn't. I know a building can't die, but there's no other way to put it. Like its source of life has been cut off. It appears to be living on borrowed time.
What's going on here?
This is disgusting. Look.
He looks down and we all look at his feet. We're no longer standing in snow, but ash and soot. I start to wonder if it was ever really snowing at all.
This is Alestia's fate if we leave it in their hands. They don't care about the land. They only care about themselves. This is proof enough that we're on the right side of history.
Howl turns to me and places a hand on my shoulder.
We suspect that this may be related to their dark idol, Monarch. Above all else, please prioritize its destruction.
I nod as previous visions start to repeat themselves in my mind. I was facing that idol with the blade. Everything is coming to pass. After our short talk, our attention is directed back toward the Honor Guard.
Seers, come here. I think this is our best chance to take action. With that group gone, our path to the library is clear.
Upon hearing this, they quickly group up in front of Domic. Our goal of seizing the Grand Library seems pretty attainable.
Yes, sir. Should be easy enough to take them down. After they're dealt with, we'll meet you all in the library.
Good. Go around this building and attack from the other side. They'll be focusing on you, so we'll head in the opposite direction.
Perfect. Then we'll meet up at the library. If we don't make it, though, it's been an honor.
You're getting a little more repeaty, and I wonder if that's the you're starting to lose it portion of it. After exchanging a nod, both groups part ways. The created seers prepare to distract the Honor Guard. Domic points to a nearby road, signaling where we should run.
The Grand Library is right over there. We'll run on my mark, so just hold on.
After speaking, he immediately places a finger against his mouth. It's clear that we need... Blech. What the hell happened with my voice there? It's clear that we need to remain silent while the seers carry out their goal. Hello, Avalon Healer. How you doing? We wait there in an intense silence, waiting to hear the clashing of swords. You all stare at each other in unease. We know that when they start to fight, some of them may die. It pains me that sacrifice was necessary in order to attain our goal. But I know that their sacrifice would never be forgotten. My heart sinks as soon as I hear them start to fight. I hear screaming and steel against steel. My instinct tells me to run immediately, but Domic has yet to move. I can see him wince every time the skirmish gets a little louder. But soon enough he makes the call and we're all running.
Now, go!
In our haste, we still make sure to be as silent as possible. The Grand Library isn't too far away. In fact, I can see it now. It stands tall and seems to be the one building that's not falling apart. As soon as we arrive there, we all let out a big sigh of relief. We still hear the fighting, but it's much more distant than before. Through the screams, it's impossible to tell which side is winning.
What's going on back there?
I don't know. Let's just hope it's going well.
Doesn't sound that way.
For the honor guard, maybe. Hurry up. We need to get inside.
Shouldn't we wait for the Seers? At this rate, it might not be much longer.
No, they can meet us inside. We can't risk running into more suits. That was just one group. I'm sure there's more.
Right.
They start to ascend the stairs, but Hal stops them.
Wait. The library seems fine. Why does it not decay like the rest?
Everybody turns to face him, but nobody knows. Domek takes the stairs back down and faces Howl.
I don't know, but I think this is a good sign. It means we can control or limit what's happening. Knowing this, we might be able to fix Balteus.
Or perhaps it's a bad sign, Domek. Maybe our enemy has the power to harm Alestia itself. How do you think we can stand up against such a foe?
Everybody exchanges worried glances, but then their eyes find their way to the blade on my back. It's apparent that conventional means wouldn't be enough to win. Nobody knows how to answer Howl, and an awkward silence follows. But then we realize that is indeed a silence. This is concerning. The early fight is over, but did the created seers prevail?
Hey, let's get inside, alright? Maybe the librarian knows more about this. We shouldn't stand around in the open out here.
Having successfully changed the subject, we start heading inside. Howl made a good point, but none of us were able to counter it. I doubt the librarian would want to talk to invaders like us. It makes me worry about how we might get them to talk. There was so much uncertainty and worry in the air right now. As we enter the library, I hope that our forces lived through their fight. When we enter the library, I'm taken aback by what I see. Dust fills the air, and it seems like this place has seen better days. The only sign that somebody has been here is that the books remain clean. Whoever has been taking care of this place only cares about the literature. I guess that's acceptable, since that would be the main job of a librarian. But it just seems odd. All the time in the world, and it's still quite dirty. There's some kind of weird apparatus in the back of the library. I've never seen anything like it before. It's almost awe-inspiring. My comrades all look around, sharing the same look of awe.
This is amazing!
I've never seen so many books in one place before. I wonder what they're all about. Should we take a look?
Maybe not. We're here for a reason, remember? Let's find the owner and see what they can tell us.
Hal steps forward, objecting before anyone else can speak.
Actually, there's a chance that the books could tell us even more. The Triumvirate must keep them away from the mainland for a reason.
What do you mean?
The monarchy vanished in the blink of an eye. This we know for sure. People can be erased, but not culture. Signs of our time here would have remained.
I don't know. You don't know if they did a Fahrenheit... You don't know if they did or did not do like a Fahrenheit 451 style book burning.
So, you're saying...
Before he can continue, we hear a noise come from down the hall. We know the honor guard can't enter, so it must be the proprietor. Knowing that we need to take them hostage, we assume hostile stances.
Looking into the past is one of the best ways to learn. If we don't become better people, then we'll repeat the same mistakes. How fitting, then, that the old monarchy would focus only on the future.
You also have a thing. We all exchange glances, slightly confused.
They wanted to guide themselves to the perfect future. If it was possible to get there, then no cost would be too high. In the name of a better world, they embraced corruption.
After a few steps forward, the mysterious man comes into view.
Too often do we condemn others in our self-serving journeys. A bright future for the monarchy would have meant death for innocent worlds. The Triumvirate chose to step in, as they have countless times before. to maintain balance.
Dominic interjects with a look on his face that I can only describe as the onset of anger.
We know what the Triumvirate did to the monarchy. Hal told us. But like you said, mistakes are how we learn and grow. It's how we become better. If the option of failure is taken away from us, we can no longer call ourselves people. They can hide behind whatever reason they want, but they're wrong to control us. The ability to make these mistakes is our right, and I will not stand by while it's taken away. Corruption? Death? Nobody wants these, but without them, we might as well not exist at all.
Everybody nods and cheers Dominic on. The mystery man shrugs and keeps walking forward.
Restrain this man.
I expect to see the man put up a fight, but he doesn't.
You will experience no resistance from me. But on the other hand, you'll find no help either. Do what you must, but keep the library intact.
He gets on his knees and holds out his wrists. Hal makes quick work of restraining him.
Who are you? You know far more than most.
The man shakes his head.
Just a hoarder of knowledge. A man who preserves the past rather than erasing it. In exchange, the Triumvirate gives me life and shelter.
Another one of their victims, you mean? Eternal life in exchange for servitude? Despicable. What atrocities did you commit in their name?
I created this library, a simple glimpse into the past. Everything the monarchy ever wrote is on these shelves. That was my job. Preserve the old history while creating a new one.
And what new history did you create?
I wrote about the Triumvirate and spread it everywhere. I made them seem like gods, like they were the creators of this world. As new life began on Alestia, they found my writing and believed every word.
Hal scoffs as anger boils within him. But before he can do anything, Pro interrupts.
Algus Veyer.
The man's ears perked up in a way that reveals he was reacting to his name.
That is the moniker I assumed, yes. I'm happy to know that the name is still remembered.
Algus Veyer, the man revered as the greatest historian. I can't believe that he too was a tool of the Triumvirate.
So everything the people believe is a lie that you created. Why would you need to go to such extremes? This is insane.
And come to think of it, Mr. Veyer is being a bit of a hypocrite, isn't he? Oh, we need to learn from the past, but then why'd you hide all the fucking knowledge of the past? Also, please tell me to slow down every once in a while if I do shit like that. Like, if you can't understand what the hell I just commented, please tell me that in the chat, because I will honestly, like... I have moments where I will just talk like a mile a minute. So, yeah.
Look at how you and your friends reacted to learning the truth. It brought you here, prepared to kill those who gave you life. The people must never know the true cost of their creation.
I don't believe this. Hal, get him out of
Yeah,
our sight.
hello, Smooth. Hal drags Algus away as the rest of us group together.
Well, at least he didn't put up much of a fight. I'd like to say that I'm shocked, but I don't feel surprised at all. This journey has been full of revelations. This is just another for the pile. It doesn't really change much at all. We still have a plan, but it'd be stupid to attack the enemy in the middle of the night. Let's rest until the break of dawn, and meet in the front of the library. Remember that we're safe as long as we stay in here. Hopefully the rest of our forces aren't too far behind. You're all dismissed. See you in the morning, okay?
where are we supposed to rest?
I'm sure there's private quarters around here somewhere. And if you can't sleep, at least there's a lot of books to read. After the war, we should give this knowledge back to the people.
Yeah, I agree. The Triumvirate can't hide this stuff forever. We finally have proof that nobody can deny. This is amazing. If we show them this, they'll accept our rule without question.
Dominic smiles, his spirits seemingly lifted.
Yeah. Let's hope you're right. Have a good night, everybody.
With that, we're all left on our own. People scatter about, reading books and exploring the library. I decide to look for a private room so I can relax and gather my bearings. Aw, you wouldn't let me look around the library and see what books I have? Ah, fuck. Oh, never mind, it's a parallel thing. Hayden returns to the chambers of the Triumvirate. Noticing the absence of Shane, they're a bit confused. They don't assume the worst and ask Hayden to brief them.
Shane stayed behind to lead the naval attack. He plans to trim their forces as much as possible. Like you anticipated, they're arriving by sea.
Good. Then things are going according to plan. We'll have you wait in the atrium for their arrival. This means that you'll be our last line of defense.
Fuck! I'm like, that's where Pro and Grizz are going, aren't they?
I consider it an honor. But I have to say, I'm worried for Shane. His chances of survival are pretty slim out there.
He knew what he was signing up for. If he killed even one of the rebels, then he was successful. Focus on protecting this castle, Halen. That's more important.
Yes, of course. I'll make sure no one passes the atrium. If they try, they'll fall as quickly as they enter.
Thank you, Halen. It's important that they have a false sense of security. Don't give them too much resistance until it's absolutely necessary. If they think they're going to win, they're more prone to slipping up. It's up to you to figure out when that moment is and take advantage of it. Even if it takes your life, you ought to prevent them from entering our chambers.
Haven kneels, complying without hesitation.
Yes, of course. My life for the Triumvirate. I'll fortify straight away and wait for their arrival.
Haven strides out of their chambers with a sense of purpose. After he leaves, they turn to each other, displaying soft smiles.
Hopefully this time, things will be different.
After finding a private room, I pace around it in circles. I've had nothing but bad luck when it came to getting rest. Ever since we left Mosea, I've been too worried to fall asleep. I try reading books, but none of them are able to capture my interest. Pacing the room, I basically succumb to the anxiety assaulting my mind. However, and thankfully, a knock at my door soon returns me to lucidity. As soon as I open it, Domek enters. He takes a deep breath, sounding both annoyed and relieved. I don't blame him. He's gone through so much in such a short time.
We finally put the librarian to rest. He sure likes to talk a lot, and about nothing at all. Lots of answers in the form of riddles. Boring stuff. It's pretty interesting that he didn't resist, though. He said he won't help us, but he won't stop us either. His true allegiance is to history. That's what he kept saying.
Well, he's also creating a falsified version of history, so what the hell is his allegiance then?
Doesn't make much sense since he faked so much history in the past. But no matter what happens next, he'll have a lot to write about. If we win, he'll record it. If we lose, then he'll record that too.
I guess his stance makes more sense if you look at it that way. No matter what happens next, somebody would need to write about it.
His main condition was that we don't harm the library. Pretty good terms, especially in exchange for a foothold. We may not have won yet, but we've seized Baltean soil.
That's true. Nobody else has ever gotten this far. I can tell that we stand a chance at winning, and it feels amazing. But I have to ask, how do we know that the Sagas can be trusted?
We don't. But he can't do much if he's locked up. Any chance he had at intervening is long gone by now. He can try when we leave, but we'll be prepared to fight by then.
I nod, thanking Dominic for the update on what's going on.
Of course. I just wanted to make sure you were all right. It must be hard to sleep right now, given all the weight on your shoulders. The others aren't sleeping either. Maybe you should spend some time with them.
He's right. If I can't sleep, then that's probably the next best idea. But I wonder if our bonds are strong enough to warrant some time together. This could be our last night alive, after all. They might be more protective of their time. I guess there was no harm in checking. I see him out of my room with a new goal in mind. Turning back to face the vast emptiness of this private room, I wonder who I could invite over. This would be a good night to make some final memories, just in case the worst came to pass. You can spend final one-on-one time with every loyal comrade. Click the arrow in the top right corner when you're ready to proceed with the story. Note that doing so will be in the final battle and lead to the ending of the game. Okay, everybody got loyal, so hey, guess what? We're doing it with everybody! And Valessa! Actually, wait. No, we're going to save, just to make sure they don't cut us off early here. Because I do want to... If they make it be everybody, then I will have everybody vote on who we should save for last. Like, I don't know. If it's only going to make me do one. But it said with everybody who's loyal, everybody's loyal, so now we can. So that's at least what I'm hoping. Spend some final time with Valessa? Yes. I invite Valessa to my room, since she seems unable to get to sleep. That seems to be the case with almost everybody. We were too worried to sleep. She scans the room, taking in all the sights. It really was an impressive place to behold.
This room is pretty cool, Monarch. Makes sense that you'd get it too. Must feel good, being royalty and all. I'm pretty confident. After hearing Dominic's plan, I get to follow you to the castle too, so it makes me happy. You can trust me to have your back if anything bad happens.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that.
I've been practicing with those daggers I got from Mazeo, actually. They took some getting used to, but I think I can hold my own. Not that those suits of armor require much to take down.
It's true, they were pretty weak. The Triumvirate focused on quantity, not quality. Hopefully that would be their downfall as we proceeded.
To be honest, I'm really scared that we might not survive. I mean, victory usually comes at a cost, but what will we pay? If I make it out of this without my friends, I'll just feel so hollow. I want to help fix Mazeo, but I don't want to do it alone. It's up to us to help undo the damage inflicted by our parents. With you on this throne, I think we could do it pretty easily.
She seems really fixated on helping Mazeo, almost obligated even. It makes sense, as she feels that our families are responsible for a lot. When I took the throne, I'd sure I'd be able to help her out. It's a good cause.
I really need to stop thinking so far ahead. This is the eve of our final battle. I should focus on that. Getting lost in thought on the battlefield would be the death of me. So, let's just enjoy this moment, shall we? This might be the last time we're able to hang out. I hate to tarnish it by freaking out and acting stupid.
I tell her that it's fine. I enjoy her company regardless. Besides, I'm sharing a lot of the same worry. We're in this together. When we met up to launch the attack, we'd have no idea what came next.
Well, at least I don't feel so alone anymore. Fortum is always so carefree, no matter what happens. Talking to him, you'd never guess that we could all die here. Before I stop being so gloomy, can you promise me one thing? It'll make me feel a lot better, and morale is what we need right now.
I nod, but it's really dependent on what the favor entails.
If I do end up dying out there, can you help repair Mazeo? I just want to see a happy nation. It's gone through so much. Our parents heard it, so we should be the ones who mend it.
I nod. That's definitely something I could do for her. That is, if I survived. But I don't display such doubt right now. It's best that I try to look strong and resolute for all my allies.
Good. Then we can move on to better things. You know, I've been thinking about how far we've come. I've seen so much, and I feel like a totally different person. I wonder what would have happened if things were different. What if your induction ceremony wasn't canceled? What if you never got that deceiving vision? Who would we be if not for all that's happened so far? I mean, we were simple residents of Valinor just a while back. But now we stand in Balteus, ready to fight the rulers of the world.
Yeah, just as a reminder, once again, a while back is, by my count, like 2 weeks at most. It's not very far back.
I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it unfold right in front of me. But, you know, I'm not sure which version of myself I'd rather be. It's not an easy thing, knowing how twisted the world truly is.
That's a tough call. I don't know which version of myself I'd rather be either. This makes me think back on where I started and where I am right now. Putting the whole journey into perspective, I realize how I've changed.
Obviously, we can't go back and change anything, but it's just weird to think about. And it was all out of our control. Let's hope that after this, we can take things in the direction we want. The people will be free to live as they please. They'll never have to lose their homes or comply with tyrants. If that's the end goal here, then I'd say our changing was worth it.
Think of it that way, I agree. I'm just glad we haven't changed too much. With how gray things can get during war, some people commit atrocities. I'd try my best to be a just ruler, even if I wouldn't be able to please everybody.
Thank you so much for inviting me over, Monarch. I feel a lot better than I did just a few minutes ago. I guess I'll see you when we gather to launch the attack.
I nod. That time was fast approaching. I see you're out of the room and let out a huge sigh. Talking to my friends, maybe for the last time, it's crushing me. But if I didn't, and they perished, I'd regret it forever. That's the excuse I give myself for enduring this pain. Turning to face the big open room, I wonder what's next. Alrighty, we are saving. Because now we've got one out of the way. And Fortim. A knock sounds at my door, and I open it without hesitation. Fortim is there. He looks a bit upset, so I invite him inside. Looking around the room, he lets out a loud and anxious sigh.
I'm gonna be honest, Monarch. I'm scared. Terrified. I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, climbing the Triumvirate's castle? That's insane. Not to mention that the entire battle hinges on my success. I have those metallic claws, but I don't know how much that'll help. Their castle is probably made of stone, like this library is.
Again, I almost think that's going to be the thing that saves you. He starts pacing around the room with extreme worry.
What if I fall? What if I get shot by an arrow? If anything gets in the way, I might not be able to do this. I require extreme focus, you know. This is too much.
I can imagine that climbing during a battle is hard. Normally, the only danger he'd have to worry about is falling off. But during this, he'd be a huge target for any archers nearby.
Sorry to come here in panic like this. It could end up being our last night together after all. There are probably way better ways to spend it than this.
He stops pacing around and stops right in front of me. Taking slow breaths, I can tell he's trying to calm down. I let him have his time, and he's back to normal pretty fast.
Okay, 14. You got this. You're gonna climb that tower and ring the bell of retreat. You'll help win the battle and return to Valinor as a hero. Trust me, I never forgot that you appointed me as the Elder. I'll do my best to lead Valinor in the right direction. I promise. But if I don't make it, you'll have to find someone else to lead.
Apologies if I'm bumping around. I'm trying to remove a notification on my phone.
I know you're gonna tell me not to worry. I know you're going to say that everything will be fine. But that's not true. We all need to be realistic here. There's a chance that we could lose this war tomorrow. There's a chance that all of us could die. A really big chance. We're not immortal. We need to face the facts, not live in denial. They're all out here in the atrium with so much confidence. But I know that deep down inside, they're scared too. We all have something we're afraid of, you know?
He steps forward and gives me a quick hug. Returning it, I squeeze him before the hug is broken.
You know, it's not death that scares me, Monarch. It's the thought of never seeing my friends again that hurts me. I don't want to lose anybody. I've never been this scared in my life.
I tell him that I'm not planning on going anywhere. After the war, we'll all be together, living peacefully.
You can't be certain of that, though. Just like I can't be certain that I'll survive. All we can do is try, then hope for the best.
This is like the most realistic and introspective that you've been in a long time.
So promise me one thing. No heroics, okay? No grand acts of sacrifice. No trading your life. This world needs you after the war. We all need you.
I agree, and tell him that I'll try my best to comply. We're almost at the end. It feels surreal to me.
I guess we'll find all of this out in a few hours anyway, right? It's almost sunrise, and the battle shouldn't be too long. Let's change the subject. I've worried enough.
He strikes a thinking pose and remains silent for a few moments.
Oh, here we go! If we win, we'll have a huge party. A party that the world will talk about forever. We can give everybody Mazayan apples.
I smile, being happy that he's happy. I tell him that we'll have the biggest party the world has ever seen. If we try our best and work together, we'll win this battle with ease.
Sweet! Then I can't wait. I'll let you get back to what you were doing, Monarch. This isn't goodbye after all. We'll be seeing each other again for sure.
He leaves my room with a smile, a direct counterpoint to how he entered. That brings me a sense of ease. We needed to have a clear head right now. It's almost time for the attack. I should make wise use of the time I have left. Saving? How? As I'm browsing random books, I hear a knock on my door. It's Howell. I let him in and ask how things are going. I don't know why I asked, it's clear what the answer was.
They all worry. They fear that death will come for them. An understandable fear, however. This is the end of our journey. We will face more danger than ever before as we move forward. Algus, however, isn't making things any easier. He plants seeds of doubt in many of our soldiers, Monarch. Words are a writer's greatest weapon. A gag would be effective.
It's unclear if this is a joke, but it gets a smile from me regardless.
He says that we are the true enemy, the monarchy. He says that if you knew the truth of our people, you would run. You would no longer fight for us, as we endangered innocent worlds. It is not true, however. His mind has been twisted beyond repair. But many soldiers are starting to doubt. What if he is telling the truth? Could they save their lives by switching sides in the final moments?
That is unacceptable. We couldn't afford any turncoats.
The monarchy made mistakes, as any group of people do. Like Dominic said, mistakes are how we learn and grow. Bad choices, while bad, are our right as people to make. They cast us aside in a prison, taking away our ability to choose. And in doing so, they took away our ability to live in freedom. No matter our crimes, this punishment is far too severe.
I agree, and it can never be turned against the monarchy. The Triumvirate imprisoned them because they endangered worlds. A hypocritical thing to say, as they hurt Alessia at the very same time.
But, we must say, it was a battle that we lost fair and square. We were so focused on our own future that we lost sight of everyone else's. It doesn't surprise us that our perfect future came at the expense of others.
You mean they might have had a bit of a point?
If it leads to happiness in the end, how can you decide what cost is too high? This is the line that all tyrants seem to walk in the early days of their rule. Many have fallen to the wrong side, Monarch, and we trust that you will not.
I nod. I don't see myself stooping to the level of the enemy anytime soon.
We know that Dominic wishes to gift all this knowledge to the people, These books capture almost the entire history of the monarchy. This may not be a good idea. They may read of our mistakes. And those mistakes may just inspire future insurrections. We think it may be best to destroy the monarchy entirely, burn these books, and remove the spirits from this body.
Well, that's a hell of a change, given your earlier sentiments. Yeah, oh wait, what? That was certainly extreme.
These books shouldn't exist at all, Monarch. We don't know why the Triumvirate keeps them lying around. If our oppression was their goal, then they should have destroyed them. Right now, they exist as a testament to our imprisonment. As long as they remain intact, they will be only a harmful memory. They should be destroyed. Allow my people and our history to rest.
This is all coming out of nowhere, but it makes sense. He is the monarchy embodied. This must be a horrific sight for him. His entire culture stolen, imprisoned just like him and his people.
This is why we ask that you look toward the future, Monarch. Do not concern yourself with who we were, or what we were like. Order this library to be destroyed. Live life on your own terms.
I don't know what to say, so I just stare at him in silence.
This started back during our journey into Eastcrown. This body could not survive the cold. The spirits inside helped, but in doing so, they died. We are weaker than we were back then. Weaker, but more in tune with everything around us. Almost like a weight was lifted from our shoulders. We would like you to lift this weight even further. Please, use that blade. Absorb the souls inside of us. Leave one behind. And let us feel what it is like to be alive. After the weight is gone from our shoulders, lift it from the world.
He looks around the room to the various books scattered about.
You must absorb these souls and destroy the books. Only then will the monarchy be truly removed from history, as our mind will be better for it. So too will the world itself.
I don't know how to respond to what he's asking of me. He wants me to commit mass genocide against the monarchy. This is all happening so fast, I'm unsure of how I should respond.
You would not be killing us. We have long since been dead. It would be an act of mercy upon a group of oppressed people. We can no longer live. The Triumvirate stole that right from us. But if you can take our spirits and use it to power the blade, maybe it will give you the edge you need to win this yourselves. We may have lost, but that doesn't mean you need to as well. These spirits may linger, and the books may remain, but the truth of it is, we're dead. We need to be buried. Our very existence is born from a denial of that death.
You know, this does make sense considering his earlier statement about how basically being some form of reincarnation of Salus or Salus or whatever, he is basically like now arguing his point from earlier, like don't raise the dead back at the rebellion because holy crap, they're only gonna feel pain. So he's basically saying like, yeah, no, we're starting to feel it now. Can you just...
If you leave one soul, we will use this body to fight for you. We may fall in combat, but nothing of value would be lost. We cannot help our own people, so we must help yours.
I knew that eventually we'd have to tackle the nature of his existence, but I didn't expect to be confronted with it on the eve of the final battle. He wants to accept defeat, have the souls removed and books destroyed. If I did that, there'd be no physical remains of the monarchy. I had spirits inside of me, but I was still my own person, able to live free. We're talking about the extinction of an entire group of people. I don't know.
We understand if this is too much to ask, Monarch, but we think this is the right course of action for everybody. Don't be scared to hurt us. You cannot harm what is already dead. The spirits would be more useful in the blade than this body. But like we said, one can remain to aid you in fighting. What do you say, Monarch? What will you do?
Okay, we have a choice. A, remove the spirits to empower the blade, or B, leave Howl as he is, he's too valuable. I'll get an existential in our ass in the final night. We have a vote for leaving Howl. Anyone else? It's the only one we have. Leave Hal as he is, he's too valuable. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be responsible for their extinction. Even if they were already dead, I couldn't be the one to end it. I let him know that fact, and I can tell that he's immediately upset.
Very well, Monarch.
Whoa!
It is a mistake, but it is your mistake to make. After all, you still live, free to make your own choices.
That's a new one, isn't it? Reminds me very vaguely of the Mad Shane expression. With a stern look on his face, he storms out of the room. I can tell that I let him down, but I think I made the right choice. As I turn back to face the room, I keep telling myself that fact. Did that change anything? It apparently did not. Okay. What order to do these last three in? Like they are... What order to do these last ones in? Because they are the ones I have absolutely flirted with the most. You know what? Let's start pro. Let's do pro Dominic Ulrich. I invite Pro over to my room to spend some final time together. He has the dangerous task of infiltrating the Triumvirate's castle. There's no telling what would happen, and I can tell that he's scared.
So, I guess this is it, huh? You know, I always thought that I'd be ready, but now that we're here, I feel such apprehension. I know the layout of their castle based on past reconnaissance, but when we stole the Blade of Exodus, they weren't expecting us. They know we're here now. For us, this will be a purely uphill battle.
He's right. We can no longer use the element of surprise. We had our strength and our smarts, but would it be enough?
Look at me, freaking out. I don't mean to bring down your morale. Let's change the subject, alright? Is there any wine in this place?
He looks around the room and is quickly let down.
Of course there isn't. You know, I thought it'd be a given. August is all alone, with nothing but his books and imagination. If there's any type of person who'd live off of wine, it'd be him.
Hey, just because a lot of writers like to use wine as a facilitant, that doesn't mean all of them do. I actually hardly ever drink wine. I only drink wine if we go out to a restaurant or something. Or as a special occasion and somebody pulls out something I like. But that tends to be few and far between lately since we're not going out all that much because of COVID stuff. I'm vaccinated, but still, I don't like being in public. I don't like being in public all that much with all the disease shit still going around. So yeah, not me. So yeah. Otherwise, I'm not a big drinker if I'm writing. I drink coffee when I'm writing, and even then, the coffee is decaf, so...
It's a lonely life being a writer. It really is. You pour so much emotion into it that you almost run out. Everyone thinks you're giving them the cold shoulder, but you're not.
No, yeah, I've had a couple... I write and self-publish, actually, in my spare time. And, yeah. I've had moments and I've had scenes where it's just like, okay, I wrote 1,000 words today, and because of the nature of what those 1,000 words were, I've emotionally drained. Just don't let me be bothered by anything else for a while, because I had to go through a tough scene in a book.
Writing is art. Nobody questions the secluded painter, you know? But the second you close yourself off to write, you're troubled. So many people see it as a joke of a career choice. I almost let that get me down when I was younger. They told me that a writer could never make a decent living. I could have easily given up. But instead, I created a legacy.
He lets out a loud sigh.
And that's what scares me. Even when I give up the swindling life, that won't be enough. Everyone will remember me for who I was, not who I am. And let's be honest, I'm not one of the good guys. I stole secrets, sold them, and ruined people's lives. Look what I did to the rebellion. That's unforgivable.
He looks away from me and shakes his head.
I think I might die during the attack, Monarch. There's no place for me in your new peaceful world. Even if I change, the harm I did will always haunt me.
He steps forward and wraps his arms around me.
I know we want to be together, but it's difficult. You don't understand how many people I've wronged in the past. If they seek revenge, they might just target the people I love. And I don't want you to get hurt just because I was a bad person. I could turn a new leaf, but that doesn't mean my enemies will too. If we're together, you might always be a target. It makes me scared.
I smile and return the hug. So what if Pro's enemies would give us hell? If the rulers of the world can't take us down, how could anyone else? I know he's panicking, so I softly run my hands through his hair. We're in this together. We don't run away when things get difficult. We stand strong and handle it as a team. That's what I truly want.
Together?
Yeah. Until the end.
I just fear that the end is closer than we think. If this could be our last night together, what do I do? How do I press forward knowing that we might lose each other?
If this could be our last moment together, then we make it count. I step forward and gently push Pro against the wall behind him. He blushes and looks around the room, embarrassed.
Are you sure? I mean, I don't want to rush anything. I've never really done this with anyone before.
For being the so-called charming rogue, I would have expected you to have done it at least once before. I don't think it's rushing. It's seizing the moment. Especially given the fact this could be the end. Now more than ever, you should do what we want.
You're right. I want this.
He gulps, nervous.
And if we both survive, you'll still want me? We can put the past behind us and tackle the future? I've done a lot, you know, so your forgiveness means...
After a quick nod, I press my lips against his. Keeping him pressed against the wall, we continue to kiss. After pledging myself to him, we gave each other a night to remember. Aww. Again, I'm still wondering how this is going to turn out with the fact that I've flirted with so many. Domik! I invite Domik over to my private room and he looks around, astonished. Even though he's seen it before, he acts as if it's the first time. I don't blame him. This room surely is a sight to behold.
What a sight, Monarch. I assume this is where Algius would normally sleep, but he's not going anywhere in his current state. I talked to him for a while and he seems unstable. Years of serving the Triumvirate will do that to you, I guess. Even after I told him what Hal was, he still lives in ignorance. Well, maybe ignorance isn't the right word. He knows what the Triumvirate is and still chooses to serve them. You know, I wonder how the people will react when they find out. Algus knows and chose not to rebel or fight back. Maybe our victory here will be just the start of another battle. Not literally, of course, but We'll fight to show everyone the truth.
He shifts, almost like he's feeling a bit uncomfortable.
I have to ask you something, though. If the people don't respect your rule, what will you do? Will you work hard to earn it? Or will you demand it through fear?
Saving. Alright. Leaving it up. A, I'd work hard and earn it the right way. B, I think every good ruler needs to do a mix of both. Or C, I'd earn it through fear they won't dare oppose me. I will say I personally would shy away from C. We have an A. Okay. That's actually probably the way I was leaning more so. Like, yeah, like, my personal opinion would be B, but please don't try and make me do that. But yeah. Please don't make me actually have to use force at any point, because I wouldn't want that. But yeah, A is probably leaning more in that direction. So yeah, I'd work hard and earn it the right way.
Good. That's what I like to hear. We can't resort to methods used by our enemy. If we did that, then nothing would change in the end.
Oh yay, and seems to have scored his points with Domik.
Just don't go down in history as a pushover. Even the best ruler needs to put their foot down, you know. Trying to give everybody what they want would just drive you mad.
Also a fair point. He shrugs, realizing it's probably a good idea to change the subject. We need to secure victory before deciding what we do with it. It's clear that he wants to avoid talking about the upcoming battle.
It just makes me wonder who the Triumvirate really is. They aren't gods. I doubt they made the Blade of Exodus. There's a chance that they're just like us, using power to achieve their goals. And they say that power corrupts. You've heard that, right? What if they were just like us in the past? What'll happen next? Will we just go on to become tyrants that the people despise?
I shake my head. We wouldn't stoop so low.
Nobody starts their journey at the peak power monarch. The Triumvirate wasn't born into this role. They fought for it. It's even likely they took down foes of their own too. But what foe would that be? And what was their goal? What I'm trying to say is, I think the blade should be destroyed. Once we achieve our goal, we have no use for it anymore, right? If you keep it, you risk relying on its power. And I don't want to see what that does to you, Monarch. Not if it's even anything close to what it's done to our enemies. I don't see any reason to keep it around after the war is over. So tell me, if you get the chance to destroy it, will you?
Saving. There we go. And one more for sake. Okay. New choice. A, of course, I've planned to do that all along. Or B, I want to keep it. It'll help ensure my reign. A, of course, I've planned to do that all along. Okay. Pulling a Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows moment here where he breaks the Elder Wand and chucks it. Hey, the bridge we're going by on the bridge we're going by on the way to into the Triumvirate's castle is going to be large enough to do that with. We could absolutely pull that off.
Good. There's no place for a weapon like that in this world. I feel like whoever wields it will be led down a dark path. I just hate to see that happen to you. I really would.
To make another fantasy series reference, let's just hope it's not like the One Ring and makes me extremely possessive of it when we're done with this. He looks away from me, sad.
I just want to know what kind of hands the world will be left in. I'm just asking you these questions because I'm scared, you know? I might not survive the battle. I might not live to see your reign.
That much was true. Even my survival wasn't guaranteed.
I'd hate to lose each other, after how far we've come. But we're about to fight the Triumvirate, so it's a real possibility. all we really can do is launch the final attack with no regrets at all. And now I have my fair share of regrets, that much is certain. But with your help, I'd like to put some of them to rest. I wanted to do so back in Alarinthia, but I was scared.
Back in Alarinthia? What does he mean?
You know that I have this fear of physical contact. When I saw everybody on the dance floor, I got jealous. It seemed so easy, so natural for them. Why couldn't I do that? They all looked so happy together. It was simply magical, and here I am, scared. I'm denying myself the pleasure of that magic. If I keep doing that, I told myself, I'd die before I got the chance to feel it. But I want to feel it, Monarch. I want it more than anything. Why does the simple thought of it make me shake in fear? What did I do to deserve this? Why can't I be happy like them?
This better be followed up with... when you're ready! There may not be any music here, but I hold out my hands. I ask him if he's willing to try. Just once, before the end of it all. He looks down at his own hands and I see them tremble. I know he's scared, but I tell him that I'm terrified as well. We could die without ever knowing each other's touch.
You're right. I could never live with myself if that happened. I want to know what it feels like, just in case I never get the chance again. So, here we are, back in Alarinthia. That music playing in our ears.
I smile with a nod as he places his hands in mine. He's shaking and scared. His eyes tear up, but he's smiling. Without saying a word, I pull him close and hold him tight. I let him tame his emotions on his own. It takes a while, but his shaking slowly subsides. He's crying, but I can tell that it's not out of fright. We sway from side to side as if we were dancing. Our bodies are in sync with a melody that neither of us can hear. It's a beautiful moment. It belongs to the two of us, as it will forever.
I love you.
And you just broke my heart because you're the first one to actually say it outright. Dominic sniffles and rests his head against my shoulder. I say that I love him too, and I am about to fucking cry. Why would you do this? It's always either Pro or Dominic. It's always either Pro or Dominic. It makes me want to fucking cry. Like seriously, my eyes are fucking tearing. And it's not from mirth either and me laughing. It's me fucking being like, basically sitting there at Dominic's thing going, oh my god, you poor baby, thank god you actually are happy. Oh my god. Oh my god. We stay like this until he's ready to leave. I've never seen him so happy. If he survives, then we spend our lives together in a similar happiness. This is the pledge I make to him as I see him off to prepare for the end. Oh my fucking god. Oh Jesus. There's still one more left! There's still one more left. Ulrich, please don't make me cry. I'm about to. I swear, God. As I'm lost in thought, a knock at the door jolts me awake. Without hesitation, I open it up and Ulrich steps inside. He seems calm. He's seen tons of battle in his lifetime.
Hey, Monarch. I just wanted to come see you. We won't be getting much sleep tonight after all.
It's true, and I don't blame anybody for it. Especially Ulrich. We were fighting his former masters. This would be harder on him than it would be for us.
I can't stop thinking about our visit to Alarinthia. You know, I broke your nose and I feel awful about that. But I couldn't let you get in the way and compromise our plan. It needed to come down to just Pro and myself. It was the only way that we could guarantee our victory. I guess I came here seeking forgiveness. I feel foolish, though. Your forgiveness was implied when you removed that curse from me. I mean, you wouldn't do something like that if you resented me, right? But still, having it implied, it's not the same as hearing you say it.
I can tell what he's after, so I tell him that he's forgiven. To be honest, it's the last thing on my mind right now. If it secures our Draconic Alliance, it was worth it.
And that's the thing, though. Forgiveness shouldn't come so easy. When you're on the throne, you'll need to learn how to punish. I lied to you. I hurt you. I shouldn't deserve your forgiveness.
Then why did he come here asking for it? I tell him that he deserves forgiveness because he meant no ill will. He did what he did out of necessity, to help further our cause and win.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, you're lucky it was just your nose. In that moment, I would have done whatever I deemed necessary, Monarch. And given the opportunity, I would do it again. I would go as far as I needed. Do you still think I'm worthy of forgiveness? Who knows what I might have to do during the final battle? The fate of the world is in the balance. I can't hold back.
What's gotten into him all of a sudden? He's acting odd, but I try not to bring it to his attention. For all I know, he's just anxious about the upcoming battle. But still, I tell him that he's forgiven. I can't hold him accountable for things he hasn't done. What he has done, however, he's more than made up for.
As long as we're both on the same page. I expect the same from you. Don't hold back in any way. If I'm in danger, don't stop to help me. You have your goal.
He wants me to just leave him for dead?
I know what I was getting into when you removed my curse. I'm vulnerable. For the first time in thousands of years. But while I'm vulnerable, I also feel alive, Monarch. It's amazing how much the possibility of death can motivate us. In some ways, that's what drives us to accomplish our goals. Without some sort of end, there's no time for us to seize.
He would know better than me. I don't think he even knows how old he is. At that point, the years would start to blur together. His demeanor makes sense now that he's facing his mortality. His actions have consequences that could affect the rest of his life. In the past, no matter what he did, he could just outlive repercussion. I'll tell him don't do it. I'll leave him behind, only if it's necessary. I do have my goal, but part of that is ensuring my comrades stay alive. The pledge seems to satisfy him enough, and he changes the subject.
Thank you, Monarch. I knew you'd be strong enough to make the tough decisions. Since we met, I've seen nothing but a capable ruler in you. And that was before the attack on the Rebel HQ. Remember back in Valinor, when we were at Peregrino. You've been leading this world for much longer than you think. And I have to say, I agree with your choices. Turning Peregrino into a barracks to protect your homeland. Anybody who cares about their people that much is a great leader.
He smiles at me and places a hand on my shoulder.
When I look back on times like that, I realize how far we've come. Complete strangers to lovers. And it all happened so fast. I wasn't expecting it, but that's how I know it's real. Some people pursue love like it'll make them whole. But it's not right to place a burden like that on somebody else. I think you can only really enjoy love when you love yourself first. And that's what you helped me do, Monarch. It's like the more I know about you, the more I know about myself. And I don't want to stop learning. I want it for the rest of my life. I'm just grateful that now it's a life I deem worth living. If I don't lose it on the battlefield, then I want to spend it with you. Being able to grow old and say goodbye. It's an odd thing to desire. But when you lose the ability to die, you start to miss it. In fact, you can almost forget what it's like to feel alive. I did. At least until I first laid eyes on you.
Okay. If it's leading up to the point I think it might be, I'm getting the tinglies. It doesn't make me want to cry like fucking Domex did. But yeah. He takes the hand off my shoulder and laughs.
I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. Don't want to give away my wedding vows. This is actually some prime material, now that I think about
it. Wow! Okay. Everybody else just was like Pro was a confession. Dominic outright said it. Ulrich is like, I don't want to jump the gun on a wedding. Okay. I mean, would I? Absolutely. Pulling me into a hug, he places a kiss on the top of my head.
Let's continue this after the battle, alright? Unfinished business is just one more reason to survive. In times like these, we need as many of those as we can get.
I nod and see him out of my room. He seems a bit different, but I don't blame him. Anybody would change when given the ability to die. I'm just thankful that he's staying optimistic about it. It makes me realize that he really wanted it. It wasn't a hasty decision. And with that optimism, I know he'd survive and live a long, happy life. Except I now have fucking 3 I'm gonna have to choose from at the end, probably. Okay, saving. Okay. That actually took a hell of a lot longer than I realized. We're already about to hit 2.5 hours. I guess I should have realized that there's going to be a lot more left because this is the final act, but I think that means that we'll actually have to save the final part of the final act for next time. So that means on Monday we will be finishing this off. And wow, it's taken a trip to get us here. And yeah, but yeah. I want to say at this point it's almost one of the longest games I've ever completed. No. Dark Souls was longer. But yeah, that'll be all for right now. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to Avalon Healer and Smooth23 for hanging out in the chat. And until we meet again on these dusty trails, have a howling good day. Take care.